DayBreak, Chapter 12, Responsibility.
And you've scoured Princess Twilight's archives?
Time Turner asked. He hurried to catch up to the two mares. They stepped lightly since they weren't burdened with a coat and heavy metal gear.
But you found nothing. We found everything we could.
Daring replied.
Look through my collection too. Not up for the usable info, but it's a start. So what's the plan?
Time Turner looked to the rooftops. The sun set behind the crystal castle, turning its blue surface a deep purple. It loomed overhead as they drew closer.
Very, very few ponies are allowed into the sealed archives for obvious reasons.
Daring Do shook her mane.
Obvious reasons? Like what?
Care flipped up the collar of her plaid jacket as a chill wind brushed past.
Not much. Just a few of Sombra's spellbooks, a complete history of Star Swirl's mirrors, everything we know about Aoizotl sun devices, a few shadow trinkets, 3 swords that can control the weather, and Princess Twilight Sparkle's thesis on stealing magic.
She smirked.
Nope, nothing that we wouldn't want to give the general public access to. Okay, the message is clear, Cap.
Daring returned the smile.
I figured that we could just ask Luna. If we tell her why we're going in, then there shouldn't be a problem.
Time nodded.
And if she refuses? Well, in the unlikely event that she's gone bonkers and can't see a reason.
Daring extended her wings.
I've gotten into and out of tighter spots. You're talking about breaking in.
Care's jaw dropped, and she shot Time a glance.
She's talking about breaking in. As a super extreme last resort.
Daring waved a hoof.
Just in case things go belly up. In that very unlikely hypothetical event, don't overreact.
Care stomped a hoof.
I might not overreact if you weren't so glib about ladies, please.
Time Turner stood before the castle door, the edges of his duster swaying in the breeze.
What guests here?
Care trotted past Time, and Daring, her eyes narrowed. She gave the door 3 solid whacks. And then they waited.
You know, it's a big castle.
Daring said.
Maybe he's got a ways to go to reach the door.
Care knocked again, and they waited some more. Time Turner took a step back and looked up.
You know, the castle doesn't look so bad if you see it in the right light.
Care pounded the door until it opened. She stumped through with the force of her swing and found herself eye-to-eye with Blankety Blank.
Spike turned in for the evening. Sorry it took so long.
His ears twitched as he averted his eyes.
Come in, please.
Daring Do galloped into the hall.
Come on, guys, I've got my notes in the library. Maybe we can cross-reference mine in time. Wait!
Blankety coughed into his hoof.
Wait. I need to speak with Captain Carrot.
Daring Do skidded to a halt.
Okay, spit it out, Stallion. Alone.
Blankety Blank pulled his ears down to match his drooping shoulders.
Sorry, Miss Yearling and Specialist Turner. It needs to be alone.
Time turned his eyes up and thought. He leaned towards the small white earth pony.
Have we been introduced? No, I don't believe so. Really?
Time lifted an eyebrow.
Because you remind me of...
He shook his head.
Well, a very long story. Never mind then.
He lifted an armored hoof to Care.
Are you alright with this?
The skin around Care's eyes tightened as she looked from Time to Blankety.
Yeah, I am. I think it's time Mr. Blank and I had a good, long talk.
Daring wrapped her foreleg around Time's.
Fine, we'll just be on our way and let you and Mr. Blank have a little...
Her eyebrows danced.
Alone time.
Time looked down at Daring.
That is very clearly not what is happening here. Oh, shut up and go with it!
Daring dragged him away with small jerking movements.
See you guys later. Feel free to stop by when you're done. We'll be working hard.
This is hardly working.
Time Turner mumbled as he rounded a corner with her. Care took a few steps towards the throne room. She looked back to see Blankety Blank staring after Time and Daring, his ears perked and his eyes intent.
Hey, wasn't there some big, super important thing that you had to risk showing your face over?
Care slumped against the throne with a butterfly emblazoned on the top, but she didn't dare sit in the chair itself.
You can question the wisdom of that particular relationship later.
Blankety approached slowly. He sat across from her, his back against the throne with a glyph of an apple. He looked from his throne to hers.
Symbolic much? Can we please get this over with?
Care wrapped her mane in a tight ponytail.
I have a job to do.
Blank flinched. He took a breath before speaking.
Blue Blood's in danger. That's your job, huh? Blue Blood's bodyguard? That sucks.
She pulled off her jacket as the fires of friendship beneath the throne warmed her.
He hit on me once when I first joined the guard. That didn't last too long. Sorry.
Blankety Blank rubbed his hooves together.
No, I'm not his bodyguard. I'm more of a shadow. I follow him and to make sure that the ponies who want him dead don't get what they want. It was supposed to be temporary, but I can't get solid evidence. What? So you want my help to get it?
She held her forelegs out.
Don't know if you've noticed, but I've kinda got a lot on my plate already. Now if you'll excuse me, I think the assassin might be working with them.
Blank said in a rush. He continued as she sat back.
Same modus operandi. Royalty targeted at social events. Dulcimer tried to poison Blue Blood. The assassin stopped Celestia, and they might be connected.
Kier's ears snapped forward.
Dulcimer. The Viscount. You know him? Well, I know of him. You don't get to be captain of Celestia's personal guard without knowing all the nobles.
Kier rubbed her head just below her horn.
Never saw him as the murdering type, though. How do you know it's him? Because
Blank brushed his light blonde mane.
Because I know what he wants.
Kier let out a loud breath.
If you know it's him, then nail him. If you don't have solid evidence, then use yourself as a witness. Why come to me in secret? Why not just give your testimony in court?
Blank looked at the thrones all around, and he nibbled his bottom lip. Kier stood up.
If you want to double up investigations, you're gonna have to give me something to go on. Why should I trust you with our information?
Blankety Blank sighed. He lifted a white hoof, and it burst into green flames. Kier nearly fell on her rear. She scampered across the room, gathering her jacket up in a spell to snuff out the fire. She let out a yipe when the searing green spread to every corner of his body. She slid to a halt and grasped the jacket. The fire died. A few cinders drifted down to the crystal floor here and there. In Blankety Blank's place, a small black changeling sat. It lifted its head, bringing its blue multifaceted eyes to bear. A smile traced its way across half of its face, and a fang slid across a hard lip.
All things considered, you probably shouldn't. Trust me, I mean.
Kierself came out and struck him in the throat. She pressed him against the throne's armrest, her eyes steely and her horn aglow.
What did you do to the real Blank? I can't.
The changeling choked.
I am the real Blank. It's a cover. I made him up myself. Why should I trust you?
Kier snapped.
Why shouldn't I just end you right the second? What reason did I have?
The changeling gasped.
To show myself to you.
Kier scowled.
I don't know. Suicide by guard?
She lifted her weight from him and let him tremble to the floor. She pulled on her jacket but left it unzipped.
So, you've got my attention. Now what? What's your game, changeling? My name is still Blankety Blank.
The changeling said.
You don't need to just drop it. Answer the darn question! I work for Twilight Velvet on the police force.
The changeling extended shaking, transparent wings.
Just ask her. She'll vouch.
Kier kept her eyes on him as she put a little distance between them.
What if I don't believe you? Then Blue Blood dies, and maybe a whole lot of other ponies too.
He bowed his head, pointing his horn away from her.
Please, Chief Velvet's coming to Ponyville soon. You can ask her then.
Kier stood still for a moment, doing nothing but breathe and think. She then gave him a curt nod.
Fine, but I'm not taking my eyes off of you for a second. Not one. Good.
The changeling said.
Then maybe we'll actually work together.
Kier snorted.
Come on, let's go show Yearling and Turner. No, we can't tell them. Are you nutso? Are you bonkers? Do you even give a flying feather?
Kier pointed down a random hallway.
Do you even think for a second that I'm gonna let them be oblivious to the changeling living right under their noses? No.
The changeling said.
You're too smart for that.
Kier gave him a double take. She sat down and scuffed a hoof.
But I hope that you're also smart enough to understand.
The antennae atop his head wriggled.
To understand that telling them would take up time that we don't have. Best to wait and let it come from a mouth they trust. That trusts me.
Kier inclined her head.
You could be buying time. Yes, I could.
The changeling sighed.
In the end, it's your decision.
Kier pressed her lips together. She jumped to her hooves and trotted towards the library.
But remember that I put my life in your hooves.
The changeling's horn flared as he followed her, shrouding his body in fire and replacing Black Chitin with white hair.
If you just decide to turn me in, you've basically killed me. Don't let all your guilt cloud your good judgment. You stay out of my head!
She shouted. She whirled on him and bumped her snout against his.
Stay out of my mind and stay out of my thoughts. Don't even think about feeding off of my emotions.
He gritted his teeth as his pupils shrunk.
It's not exactly something I can turn off. I don't take kindly to people digging through my private feelings.
She growled.
No, I'm sorry.
He took a step back and shut his eyes.
You're just practically broadcasting it.
Kira's face softened and her cheeks flushed. She then stomped a hoof.
Alright then.
Blankety Blank opened his eyes. He hunched his shoulders and ducked his head.
Alright, what? I'll keep your secret until Twilight Velvet comes.
She narrowed hard pink eyes.
If you can keep mine. Fair's fair?
Blank nodded and she marched away double time. I bet that Blank didn't expect Care to bash him in the neck and pin him down, because damn, that was freaking brutal. Anyways, let's get on to our gracious donators. Top donators: TacoCat598, Peter Coulthard, J Tin Man, Darkside, Gauntlet, and Only One Thing. Zar630, Strix, Raiden, Narwhals, Black Moonheart, Drake Lovedragon, Pastel Skies, Austin Roland, Crazy Killer 557, Stu Hex, Will, Dospo, Madman Stan, Delta Omega, Jack Hadge, RuneScythe9852, Leslie Prickett, Hunter Norman, Stephen Bingham, LineGod12, and many more amazing people. Thank you all so much for watching this video and live life to the fullest.